Let me ask you a question. In your organization, do things often sound like this? Let's check with the boss. We need approval before moving forward. Or wait until leadership signs off. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In many growing organizations, something strange begins to happen. No matter how capable the team is, no matter how many managers are hired, everything still needs the leader's approval. And before long, the leader becomes overwhelmed. Decisions pile up, projects slow down, people wait. But here is the surprising truth. This problem isn't about control, and it usually isn't about trust either. If everything needs your approval, it's because your organization is missing something far more fundamental. And today, I want to show you exactly what it is. Think of your organization like a system. In fact, to be specific, think about your organization like a highway system. In the early days of a company, there aren't many cars on the road. The founder can make decisions quite quickly. Someone asks a question, the leader answers. Everyone moves forward. It works because the organization is small. But as the company grows, more cars enter the highway, more people, more projects, more decisions. And if every road still leads to one intersection, we eventually get a traffic jam. There's no doubt about it. The intersection is the leader. At that point, people begin waiting for approvals, not because they want to, but because the system forces them to. Many leaders believe the approval problem exists because, one, employees lack confidence. Number two, teams need guidance. Number three, managers aren't strong enough. Those three things. But in most organizations, the real issue is something else entirely. People escalate decisions upward when they are uncertain about three things. One, decision boundaries. Two, organizational priorities. Three, accountability. When these three elements are unclear, the safest move is to always the same. Escalate to the leader. But because if the leader approves the decision, no one gets blamed. No. So the organization unintentionally trains people to seek approval, not because they lack capability, but because the system rewards caution instead of ownership. The system rewards caution instead of ownership. I once worked with a company where the CEO approved almost everything. Marketing campaigns, pricing changes, vendor decisions, even relatively small operational choices. And one day he said something interesting. I feel like I'm the only person actually making decisions here. At first glance, that sounds like a leadership strength. But the deeper problem was this. The organization had no shared decision framework. Managers weren't sure of whether, one, which decisions they owned. They were not sure which priorities mattered most. They were not sure how success would be measured. So every decision flowed upward, straight to the CEO. The organization didn't lack leaders. It had many of them in senior positions. It lacked decision alignment. Think about a great heist movie. Every character has a role. One person handles the security system, another handles the logistics, another manages the escape route. Imagine if everyone moving the plan required approval from the mastermind. Let me repeat that. Imagine if every move in the plan required approval from the mastermind. Should I cut the power now? They ask the mastermind. Should I move to the vault? They ask. Should I open the door? The haste would fail before it even started. Because successful teams operate on shared understanding, not constant approval. And the same principle applies to organizations. Organizations are not different. That is what is really happening in most organizations. Different parts of the company operate with different mental models. Sales prioritizes growth. Operations prioritizes efficiency. Finance gives priority to cost. Leadership gives priority to strategy. Individually, these perspectives make sense, a lot of sense. But when they are not aligned, decisions become confusing. So managers escalate decisions to leadership, hoping the leader will reconcile the conflict. Which means leadership becomes the translation layer between competing priorities. That is exhausting and completely unsustainable. Completely unsustainable. The solution is not simply delegation. No. Delegation without alignment actually creates chaos. It does. Instead, organizations must build what I call community alignment. That means everyone in the organization understands three things clearly. How decisions are made. 2, what priorities matter most. 3, who is accountable for outcomes. When these three elements are aligned, something powerful happens. Decisions start happening where the work happens instead of moving upward. The leader stops being the approval machine and becomes the architect of how decisions flow in the organization. And this is where most leaders, or many leaders, struggle. Because early in the company's life, success often comes from being deeply involved in everything. The leader is deeply involved in everything in the early formative years of this organization. But scaling requires a completely different leadership mindset. Completely different. The leader must shift from being decision maker to being decision system designer. Instead of answering every question, the leader builds the structure that allows others to answer them confidently. When that happens, the organization becomes faster, more responsive, more capable, and leadership finally escapes the approval trap. The leadership finally escapes the approval trap. So if you feel like everything in your organization needs your approval, don't immediately assume the problem is your team. No. Instead, ask a deeper question. Does the organization clearly understand how decisions, priorities, and accountability actually work? Do they? Because when those three things are aligned, decisions stop climbing the hierarchy. Execution speeds up And the leader, finally, has freedom to focus on what truly matters, building the future of the organization. Focusing on what truly matters, building the future of the organization. If you found this insight helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who leads or manages a growing organization. Because one of the biggest myths in leadership is that great organizations need constant approval from the top. In reality, great organizations execute because everyone understands how decisions work. Yes, in reality, great organizations execute because everyone understands how decisions work.